Hey, it's Pablo. What's the word? In this video, I'm going to show you how to price your AI cold email offers to scale fast. So I played around with a bunch of different pricing in the time that I've been starting and scaling Inventiscale. And this isn't anything novel, but being in the industry, the types of businesses you go after, like the fact that you're in the AI industry, it can affect things. The fact that you're going after maybe certain clients can affect your prices. So I just want to give you my experience and tell you what you should be able to expect. Also, how pricing will affect your sales process too. You know what I mean? And how certain pricing will affect how fast you can scale. So all this stuff you want to start taking into consideration. And there are a couple of things top of mind that I want to say before I forget them. I didn't really make any notes for this video, but what I would recommend you do is you take the transcript and then you put it in some sort of LLM like a ChatGPT or a Claude or some sort of thing like that so you can keep this in your notes. Cool? So let's talk about pricing. Pricing is important because pricing is the one thing that you can flip that changes the entire business for the better right away if you do it properly. But it's important to be strategic about this and tactful about this because it affects every area of your business. It affects the clientele you attract. It affects your relationship between your current clients, so on and so forth. So pricing, the thing I want to get off of my mind before I forget it is, if in doubt, if you sell an offer for 5K or more, you're probably going to be all right. You're usually going to be all right, especially in the AI space where you get a huge, like, there's a lot of leverage, meaning you're not spending a lot on tools for the amount of money that you're going to be making. We just did 36x on our money for one AI funnel. It was something stupid, but point being, if you like, I know people obsess over like, okay, my lifetime gross profit and cost of client acquisition or client acquisition costs, so on and so forth, and those numbers are important, but not as important if you're not doing ads and you're just doing cold email, and also not as important if you're just charging a lot. So get to the point where you can charge a lot because it tends to make everything better. That being said, you never want to exist in the middle. Alex Hormozy said this. This is not a Pablo original, but I did discover this on my own too. You either want to be really highly priced and it signals this premium sort of thing, and so that you also don't need as many clients to hit the revenue goal you want, or you want to be rather low priced but be intentional about it so that you're going to have to sell and get a lot of clients, right? But you're going for like a mass thing. You're building a brand and so on and so forth, and that's a different conversation. But you don't really want to exist in the middle. For safety, if you can get to the point where you're charging 5K or more, which is really just a matter of decision, you should be just fine. And there's really no difference in terms of what you have to offer and deliverables between 2K and 5K. You should be just fine just raising your price. Just say a different price. You should be fine. There should be no justification needed. Now, let's break down the different pricing brackets. So I'm going to assume that we're not talking about working for free in this case. And I'm not gonna touch on performance based. If you're gonna do performance based, just take the number that we'll talk about here, like the upfront fee, and divide it by the number of deliverables. So for example, if I'm encouraging you to charge 5K and you do performance based, take the amount of deliverables that you deliver. So let's just say 5 deals a month that you generate, or 5 meetings that you put on their calendar a month. Take 5K and divide that by 5. So let's just say $1,000. That's rough. That's rough. Cool. I like pricing to be very easy, right? Very easy. So here's what happens if you charge between, let's just say, you're not going to charge anything less than 2,000. At least if you're working with me, I wouldn't let you. So let's just say somewhere between 2,000 and, I don't know, like 4 to 5,000. Like, let's just say 2 to 5,000. Especially it's a wide range, but especially on the lower end of that spectrum, so like closer to the 2K, even 1K, don't charge that, but just saying, you're going to attract a lot of unserious people. People who want to dip their toes in the water but never really want to commit. And people who blame the world and the coach and the service provider, in this case you, for their problems. You'll run into a lot of those people. Not everyone. Some people take their progress and their success seriously, but we're talking about other business owners here too. But remember, business owners are just people. But that's what you will attract in like the 2 to sub 5K range. Not all the time. The closer you get to 5K, the more serious these people do get. Cool. And yes, there are exceptions to every rule. You can charge more than 5K. and still get some serious people. But that's it. Pricing is usually a good way to weed off the people who are unserious. So that's why you want to raise your price. And then also, again, it helps you put more money back into the business. So it allows you to scale faster. Cool. Now, if you charge between 5K and 10K, you'll get a more serious client. But of course, the higher you go, the more specialized and tailored your offer needs to be, and you should be prepared for such a thing, right? Like, it's hard to sell a blanket offer to someone at 10K. It's just hard. And also their needs are probably different too. Like, they usually, someone who's willing to pay 10K for something isn't just like getting started. They usually have a thing already up and running, so a business, and they need some more tailored work to be done. Or you're also adding other deliverables. So for example, if you're doing AI cold email, perhaps you're doing like LinkedIn automation too. Just throwing that in there for example, right? Again, there's exceptions to every rule, but as you go from 5K to 10K, you're a lot more specialized in what you do. Or you have the same offer, but you're more specialized in how you articulate it. So you say, hey, we only service X and Y people, or we only service X, Y businesses that are doing over X amount of revenue. It's very specialized. And since there's less of them, you got to charge more. See what I'm saying? So notice how I'm not hinging so much on like very specific numbers, like you should charge 7K or you should charge 5K. My friend, I am always testing. I am always testing like relentlessly. Like, I might try and charge more, and then I might charge less on the next engagement. Then I might charge more, then I might charge less, just to see where the conversions are, and just to see how the conversation changes. This is a never-ending case study. Ideally, you want to trend upwards and start charging more and more and more. So you start low, but I'm never against charging a lot here and then maybe reducing it for the sake of gathering more data on finding out what works. And so therefore I can make videos like this and guide you appropriately, but also to scale my company fast. Hence the video. Cool. Now, the next thing is, the higher you go in price, especially when you get over, let's say if assuming this is B2B, let's just say 5K and up. Once you're over 5K, even 7K, probably, like after 7K, you're probably gonna have to do this, is you should be prepared for a 2-call close, which is fine. Like, I've talked about this in other videos. In that 2-call close, you really want to impress them. So the first call is kind of like a first date almost, right? For lack of a better analogy. In that first call, you're really getting to understand the business, if you can help them and if you want to help them, if you want to help them get results, right? And of course, clients are not going to tell you everything. There's only so many questions you can ask too, but really this is kind of like a patient visiting a doctor. You are the doctor, or in this case, you're the consultant, and you're just asking questions to be able to diagnose what their issue is, and which you can do rather quickly, and see if you even want to get them results. Cool. If you have any interest in getting them results, and also if they're not like reluctant, if they're reluctant, don't try and convince them. You got to get in the mindset of being too rich to be convincing clients to work with you, right? Don't do that. Be willing to walk away from the deal. Now, let's just say you have an interest in helping them make money. Cool. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back and make a proposal. It is 2026. You can use AI to make this proposal and you will be just fine. Nobody's going to penalize you. Nobody cares. Use AI to make a really in-depth proposal. No, I don't have a template for you. I should probably make one, but I don't have a template for you. I got a template for the folks inside Spectre, but like, even still, most of my instruction is just prompt ChatGPT to give you what you want. And it will make it nice and more detailed than I can ever sort of describe for you, right? And do it like record your phone calls and feed your LLM, so your GPT, the transcript of your phone call, and then ask it to make a proposal. And it will make the most detailed, aesthetically pleasing, professional proposal you've ever seen in your life. And it will impress the customer, because a lot of that price range, like in that price range, a lot of it, and being able to close and convert on that price range, is just about trust. And trust is built in like these micro steps. So how you show up, how you interact, how you speak, how well you can articulate your offer, case studies, of course, but then also like these little tangible assets you produce throughout the sales process, right? Your speed to communication, your turnaround time of that proposal, how well you were listening. In this case, you just feed the transcript to AI, so you essentially captured everything in every detail. But that is something that helps you a lot. And so like a meaty proposal that's very detailed and breaks everything down about the offer is a real way to like win them over and to get their trust. And you're going to ask ChatGPT or Claude or Manus or whatever you're using to break down the offer and the ROI, and to split it up into sections with an executive summary, and then the proposal is all nice and packaged, right? If you've worked corporate, you know what I mean. But it's not that difficult. This shouldn't take you more than a couple of hours, if that, maybe an hour, if that, right? If that. So, like, I can probably do this in like 20 minutes, under half an hour for sure. Anyway, so you're going to bring that to your second, or you're going to email them that, and then ask if, what their thoughts are. Tell them to get back to you with their thoughts, and then you're likely going to set up a second call, and then you just go in for the close, right? Now, these are businesses, especially if you're not talking to broke businesses, it sounds obvious, but they got the money to pay you, right? Even if you got to structure your offer in a two-step installment sort of thing. But anyway, to price your offers to scale fast, the short answer is just charge as much as possible, but you got to know what comes with that and how the sales process changes, right? You're also attracting a different caliber of client. You know what I mean? You're attracting a different caliber of client. So in a safe route, like, a lot of people just hit me up and say, Pablo, just tell me what to charge. Sure. Especially inside Spectre, like, I can help you do that, but I'm trying to train you with these videos on how to fish. I'm not just trying to feed you. But for safety, you can, like, especially if you're doing AI and you have some sort of AI business or company, you can charge 5K or more, and you should be just fine. You should be just fine as a one-time fee for a limited duration of the engagement. Let's just say, I don't know, 30 days or 5 deliverables or whatever it is. 5K for whatever you're promising. Cool. But then just know that the higher you go, the more trust you have to build, the more seriously you have to take this, and the more bespoke and tailored and personalized you have to take this. You can get away with charging 2 to 3K a client. You're just going to have to really hammer down on outreach. Hence why I make content and things like this. And also, like, one thing that allows you to charge more, like, it's one thing to be able to say charge more. It's another thing to be like, okay, well, how do I actually get away with that and get clients to say yes? One thing that really helps is authority and content and getting people to see you first. Now, you don't have to do this. I didn't start making content for months into building Vintascale, my agency. That being said, it does help, hence why I'm here, right? If you've been on my channel long enough, you've heard me say this before. But anyway, so that's how you price your offers to scale fast in 2026. Again, I would recommend, I would also get them to pay for your infrastructure, by the way, but you don't have to. You don't have to. Now, I would recommend, again, taking this video, take the transcript, put it into some sort of like Google Notebook or ChatGPT or something, and start to build a file. Cool, if you aren't already. That being said, if you'd like my help on starting or scaling your AI cold email agency or AI deal generation business, link is in the description. I can absolutely help you out. We have the #1 AI deal generation and AI cold email program on the planet by results. Link is in the description. There's Spectre, there's Spectre Lite, also known as Dealmaker Accelerator, depending on where you're at in terms of budget and revenue. Cool. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.